Hey everyone, this is Scott from the Scott Grow Podcast. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching The Flash Season 4. Today I'm going to be talking about Episode 11, The Elongated Knight Rises. So I'm just going to be talking about my general thoughts, because I just finished rewatching this episode. Not watching, but rewatching this episode for the second or third time now. And yeah, I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts, which are, I enjoyed this episode. The last episode wasn't my favorite, The Trial of the Flash, but this one I really enjoyed. A big focus on, obviously, Ralph, the elongated man. We start off this episode, he hasn't been named yet, which I really enjoyed that kind of bit that they kind of do for the first few episodes of this season. Since he's been introduced in his power, they have kind of just been joking around with his name, and then at the end of this episode he kind of accidentally names himself, and I liked it all the way up to that point. I really enjoyed the bit of, Cisco just hasn't got to naming him yet, or so hasn't thought of something good yet, and I enjoyed that bit. And then, Ralph just kind of comes up. They just kind of decide to let Ralph kind of just splurt it out. I'm elongated, man. And it's like, okay, that works. Yep. But I enjoyed this episode nonetheless, because I enjoy seeing Ralph, try to be a superhero. It's fun. He's got the funny attitude, and, obviously he's new to it. So it's just a fun, fresh fish kind of perspective, and I just enjoyed that. I like that we got the Trickster Jr. back for this episode. I prefer Trickster Sr., Mr. Mark Hamill. But it's still fun nonetheless to get, what's the poor man's Joker, as it were. But it's still a fun Trickster, because it kind of gave something interesting for Ralph, the elongated man, to go up against, and Team Flash to go up against while Barry's still in prison. Yeah, which, not much to say about that. He's made a friend with his dad's old roomie. He's almost gotten stabbed a couple times. He uses his flash powers once or twice. Not much to say about that. He's in prison. What else have I written down? Oh, Ralph gets a new suit, which I found very lackluster. It's better than his first one, but I don't know. I don't really know the elongated man from the comics that well, so I don't know if it's an accurate costume, but it's kind of dull. And it's weird that he doesn't have some kind of symbol, even if it's an E or something. I like my superheroes to have a symbol. That's just me. Symbol or logo, you know what I mean? What else do I have? Oh, I like that they had Bebo pop up in this. That's the little blue stuffed animal that popped up in Legends of Tomorrow as well. It's a bigger plot point in Legends of Tomorrow than this episode, but I just like that little crossover that they kind of keep in mind. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of the writers between The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow are probably some crossover there. So obviously they're working together. So I just enjoyed that little thing. They could have picked any stuffed animal, but they stuck with canon for this episode, and I enjoyed that. But the last thing, at the end of this episode, we get the first glimpse of the mystery girl throughout this season, who talks really fast and that stuff. We find out, for spoilers, for those of you who haven't already seen this episode or watched this season, we know this girl ends up turning out to be Barry and Iris' daughter, and we're going to be discovering next season why she's back here and messing around during the season. And so, yeah, I enjoyed that little... I like the way that they introduce her with, no kind of sign whatsoever, what she's there for, who she's supposed to be, etc., etc. I like that they just give us literally 5-10 seconds with her at the end of the episode, and they do that a few times throughout the season, where she just pops in for a few seconds. And I just enjoyed that little way they kind of sprinkle her through before the end of the season ends, with her being like, "I'm your daughter," and it's yeah. That's all the stuff I had written down for this episode that I liked in particular. What did you guys like or dislike about this episode? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me, and have a good one.